favorites of the whole parade right there, or the whole day actually, at Marmon. I think that's gorgeous. Look at that, it's perfect.
We're finishing up here with a couple of race cars. And what is the year of this one? This is a 1928 Marmon. Marmon was not a company that was known to do a lot of racing, but the very first winner of the Indianapolis 500 was a Marmon. It's not this car. This car is actually owned by Buck Mook from Bloomfield Hills, although it's being driven by Dan Miller and his lovely companion Angelina Buffalini. And this, like a lot of race cars in the 20s and 30s, this is a car that's made up of a lot of production car parts. A stock engine that's been hot rodded, a Marmon frame that's been modified, and you can see, at least on this side, it says Uruguay. And it does on that side. This car came out of South America. Buck Mook also has a second one that supposedly came out of Argentina. And they're the kind of thing that people would put together and run possibly on road courses or oval tracks. And it's just it's a wonderful example of a race car made out of stock car parts, but yet it really looks like a race car, and I suspect it's a lot of fun to drive. And how did you manage to talk Buck into letting you drive instead of him? Oh, he asked you. Okay. Very good. So, thank you very much.
That's it? That's the parade?
It has a really nice sound to it.
Oh, that sounds great.
And then a very different sound. Here's Glenn Miller, and with him is Buck Mook, who owned the other car. This is a replica of Henry Ford's 1901 sweepstakes. This is Henry Ford's, or the replica of Henry Ford's first race car. The original car is in the museum. Henry had he tried building cars. He had a car company called the Detroit Automobile Company, and it failed. And he needed to reestablish his name, get some more money. He decided to build a race car. There was going to be a big race on a horse track at Grosse Pointe in October of 1901. One of the people who was going to be there was Alexander Winton, who was already an established auto manufacturer in Cleveland, a major race car builder and driver. And Ford thought, well, if I could beat Alexander Winton, that would be a feather in my cap. People would know him as a real good engineer, and I could go on and start another company. All the other cars dropped out before the race started, so it was just Henry and Winton. It was a match race. It was 10 miles. And Henry started out not doing very well. Winton was much more experienced. However, Winton had mechanical trouble. And lo and behold, Henry passed him and won the race. And so hometown boy makes good, beats the famous out-of-town guy. Ford went on to get some more backers, parlay that into a second company that he called the Henry Ford Company. And that didn't work out so well either. Henry left that company, had a disagreement with those financial backers. They reformed that company and renamed it Cadillac, so it went on and did pretty well. Henry formed a third company, called it Ford Motor Company, and that turned out a lot better. So this is actually, this is a replica of a very important car. It kept Henry's automotive efforts going while he was basically learning how to be a manufacturer. And this replica was built for Ford's racing centennial in 2001. Ford celebrated its racing centennial 2 years before it celebrated the company's centennial. And Glenn Miller was one of the people chiefly involved in looking at our original car and replicating it and building this replica. And this thing, believe it or not, was timed at over 70 miles an hour. And I don't think anybody around wants to drive it that fast now. You've had it up, Glenn has had it up as high as 60, which, believe me, an open car like that feels a whole lot faster than 60 miles an hour. So, thank you. And that does conclude our pass and review and our automotive driving activities until later on when we do the Gaslight tour. But I can turn you over now, or in preparation for the concert.